Alright everyone, welcome back. So we continue on our prospect pool overviews today with the San Jose Sharks. And the Sharks are a little bit of an interesting team. They're on that decline, but their pool is already pretty deep, even though this coming season is somewhat expected to be the worst season the Sharks have seen in a long time. But regardless, let's take a look at their prospect pool. Starting off with William Eklund, a center/left wing from Hanji, Sweden, 5'10", 181 pounds. He won the J18 SM Gold in 17-18, and I have heard a lot of good things about Eklund over the past couple of months, or the past couple of years, if we're being honest. And, this past year, he took a big step in his pro career, and this season's really looking like it's going to be that next big path for him for sure. He played 8 games with the Sharks this past season after being drafted 7th overall in 2021. So it shows that he's already taken that step this past year to play a few games up at the NHL level. And it's looking like this coming season, he will play the full season, or at least more than 8 games in the NHL. But in 54 games played with the San Jose Barracuda, the AHL affiliate, he had 17 goals, 24 assists for 41 points. Those are great numbers there for a young forward like Eklund, and definitely is showing that he's going to be promising in the NHL for sure, and it's going to be very exciting to see what Eklund's going to be able to do with San Jose, despite them not going to be so good this coming season for sure. Listed as a dynamic offensive player, a great skater, great handler with the puck, but those are obviously things we already know. Amazing player overall. Next up then we have Will Smith, a center from Lexington, USA. He's 6 foot, 181 pounds. He won the U18 World Junior Gold in 22-23. A dynamic player there, and was a guy that I wanted on my team, but unfortunately that never happened. But regardless, drafted 4th overall this past year in 2023, and in 80 games played this past year combined with the U.S. national team and the U.S. National Development Program, he had 66 goals, 103 assists for 169 points. Now keep in mind, those are combined stats between 2 United States programs, so those aren't one season together, they're 2 combined stats. But nonetheless, an elite forward, is dynamic offensively, he shoots very well, he's a great passer is what I've heard, and obviously he gets scored. He scored 66 goals, and he's a good passer too. So obviously, Will Smith is going to look like a very exciting player when he makes that jump over to the San Jose Sharks, and he's not going to slap anyone, hopefully. I'm going to make that joke every single time I talk about Will Smith. But regardless, Thomas Bordeleau is up next there, a center from Houston, USA. He is 5'10", 174 pounds. And people kind of forget this guy exists. He's a very underrated prospect there in San Jose's pool. Drafted 38th overall in 2020. Could have proved to have been a steal, depending on how he does this coming year with San Jose. And he's also, along with Eklund, one of those players that will make that jump to the NHL for sure. Because he actually took pretty much the same path as Eklund. 8 games played with the Sharks this past year, as Eklund did as well. Also played around the same amount of games with the Barracuda. And he played 65 games, had 22 goals, 19 assists for 41 points. So definitely a player who pretty much had the same stats as Eklund, just changed around a little bit. So yeah, Eklund and Bordeleau are expected to probably make that jump over to the NHL and play at least more than 8 games with San Jose for sure. So even though San Jose is going to be bad this coming year, it is going to be exciting to look at those players and see how they're going to do. Next up then, moving on to your defensive prospects, you have Henry Thrun, a defenseman from Scottsboro, USA, 6'2", 190 pounds. He was the U20 World Junior Gold winner in 2021. Was drafted by Anaheim, actually, and then was traded to San Jose. So there were those talks. He didn't want to play with Anaheim, so there he is, moving just a few miles up the coast and going to San Jose. I think it's up. But regardless, definitely a good defenseman there, and also played at Harvard University. But additionally, he also played 8 games with the Sharks this season. So all of these guys that I mentioned here, besides Will Smith, have all played games with the Sharks. So definitely, it's good to think about that. It's good to see those guys make steps. And Thrun could be another player, too, that, hey, San Jose is going to be really bad this year. It wouldn't hurt to have those guys down in the AHL for another development year. But honestly, if they've already played games with San Jose, they really should come up and play more, for sure. But in 33 games this past year with Harvard, he had 7 goals, 24 assists for 31 points. Those are good numbers for a defensive type defenseman for sure. And I would imagine, though, he does spend a lot of his time in the Barracuda. Now that I look at it, he probably will spend a lot of this coming season in the American Hockey League, but then should make that jump. But plays great defense, a great physical game as well, and he's shown that he can be a solid defenseman. It just may take some time for him to get there. So definitely a guy I would look out for there on San Jose's blue line. Next up then, Mattias Havelid, a defenseman from Täby, Sweden. I believe I said that right. He's 5'10", 176 pounds. He won the U18 World Junior Gold in 22-23, so obviously has that international experience. Drafted 45th overall in 2022, so a much more recent pick there than some of the other guys I've talked about. But regardless, Havelid looks exciting there as a good defenseman on that blue line. In 25 games played this past year in the SHL with Linköping HC, he had 4 goals, 2 assists for 6 points. I think those are great numbers in the Swedish Hockey League. We see forwards put up those numbers in the SHL that are younger, and he's putting them up as a defenseman. So good on him there. He's listed as having a derived offensive shot and is slightly undersized as a defender, but if you're a more offensive guy, then it really isn't that big of a deal. I'm not going to compare him to Cale Makar, but if you're like Cale Makar and you're that height, you'll be fine if you're more of an offensive defenseman. And I've seen that be complained by a lot of people. The goaltending is their best prospect in net. There isn't many well-known prospects there. I mean, a lot of the guys they have already kind of come up, like Kaapo Kakkonen, even though he was acquired. I think he could be solid. Blackwood could be all right too. So really, they're not too concerned in net right now because Blackwood could have a better year, but then again, it is San Jose. But regardless, you got Ben Gaudreau, a goalie from North Bay, Canada, 6'2", 174 pounds. Won the U20 World Junior Gold in 22-23. He was drafted 81st overall in 2021. So goalies, and I've said this so many times, they're a strange thing. They really take a weird path of development. They don't really come up into the NHL till they're 24, 25. And that might sound crazy to say, but that really is the truth. And, this past year was a little bit of a weird year with him and the Sarnia Sting. He had 44 games played, a 24-12-3 record, a 3.07 goals against average, and a .889 save percentage. It's weird because his stats were meh, but the team was good. So he got the job done more or less. That's basically what it means. But yeah, of course, the OHL, the CHL as a whole is very offensive, so it's not surprising there. But of course, Gaudreau, goalies, again, are a weird thing. So we could have a weird year this year and have a good year next year. But of course, I still think we're a ways away before we see Ben Gaudreau even take cusp at the NHL. I would imagine he probably plays the full year with the Barracuda, is what I would expect to happen. But regardless, other prospects in the pool. The pool, besides the core 5, are relatively weak. There are still some notable guys there. Quentin Musty, another guy they drafted this past year. Alexander Chmielewski, forward Tristan Robbins, forward Philip Bystedt. Defenseman Shakir Mukhamadullin, I thought he was on New Jersey, but he was involved in that Meyer deal, so he was gone. That's my apologies. But then defenseman Artemi Kinasev as well. So that is your prospect pool for the San Jose Sharks there. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and down below. I greatly appreciate it. We are moving slowly along here. We're less than a week away from the series preview, so this time next week, I think we'll be 2 videos in. So yeah, we're gonna be approaching that really quick. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.